Hi, everyone. Carmine Dinisco here on the Launch Network. We got some cool stuff going on. I got to tell you one thing, most of the clients that I talk to, I work with, people that have, they're always sending in questions about US-based American manufacturing, and I get this question so often. I said to myself, what the heck can we do to help out these inventors, give them the real information, let them know what's out there? So I reached out to the man himself, Mr. Made in America, one of my good friends, Mr. Christopher Guerrera. And I said, hey, listen, Chris, let's get a show going on. He thought it was an awesome idea. So we are going to start a brand new show today. You guys are the first to hear about it. It's going to be the Made in America show with Mr. Christopher Guerrera. Hey, Chris, what's happening, my friend?
Carmine, it's good to see you. And man, what a topic. Made America, USA, USA. I love it.
You can't beat it, man. I mean, I got to tell you, Chris, I make stuff all over the world, 7 different countries. I have stuff going on all the time. And as you know, the first question people ask me is, do you think I can make this in America? And,
Right.
and a lot of times I have to tell you the truth. I really don't have those contacts, those people to go to. I've always talked to you about it, but it's so important now to be able to answer and help these inventors out. I think this is a good time for the show. What do you think?
Yeah, I do too, Carmine. I always talk about speed to market, how critical is to have your product get into the market quickly and get sold. So speed is a big deal. Being able to do it in the USA for me has really helped that case out, along with being really competitive. I've got a Lean Six Sigma background, so it helps me to look at areas on products where I can eliminate what we call muda, waste, in the process. So you add value back to the consumer and you can reduce your cost overall and get it to the market quick. So effective cost and speed to the market, can't beat it.
Well, I just want to give our listeners a little bit of background. When I talk or I punch in Made in America, I've seen you on TV, I've seen you on talk shows and things like that. Tell us a little bit about your background and how did you basically become, and I'm not trying to be a wise guy, Mr. Made in America. I mean, what's the deal with it?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm an engineer, right? And I go way back to designing. I started with product design, really, and what a creativity you can get from designing products. And it started really in the automotive industry. So for people like Ford and BMW and Mack Truck and Ingersoll Rand, these are like big companies that allow you to be really creative and solve problems. I mean, there's times I've designed products that solved overdrive problems in transmissions when it vibrated and shifted in overdrive way back. I'm dating myself now a little bit, in the 80s, right? And back in the 90s, when the zero permeation to the atmosphere occurred, we had to have a gas cap and a filler neck and a gas tank that leak anything to the atmosphere. So we came up with this incredible 1/8 turn gas cap, right? That's patented. And back in 93, I think it was an interesting design. It took about 3 years to come up with this 5-pound gas cap that literally had 1/8 of a turn to snap in place and had to have zero permeation through the filler neck, through the tank. And if you lift your gas cap off, you see it now, you get that error message on your board.
Mm-hmm.
So just having those opportunities really to really develop product designs, to really understand tooling, especially injection molding, and then to look at how do you launch it and where do you launch it. So I've been all over the world. I've been to Germany, I've been to Japan, to China. So I've seen it everywhere. And for me, the fastest way to do it, in my mind, for me was, you got to figure this out in the U.S. because you're eliminating, all the differences in hours from you're in China, right? They're sleeping, you're awake. The amount of time a product is on a boat, or how much inventory you have to buy to ship it here. Then you have to freight it somewhere, warehouse it, fulfill it. So for me, that's what intrigued me. And I just continue to build off of that. And back about 7-8 years ago, I started up a company to help America fix their bottom lines, which kind of led me into product launch. And here I am today offering Made in America services, US-based product, including tooling for injection molding, actual molding of the product, the packaging, and fulfillment right in the same location under the same roof.
Wow. You know, it's kind of amazing in a sense. And it seems like you kind of cut your teeth in the automotive industry. And to me, that has got to be one of the toughest industries. It's full of innovation, but speed to market in the automotive industry is probably really important.
Boy, you hit that on the head. I wouldn't want to be trained in any other arena. When you talk about Lean Six Sigma, right? Mold change times, right? I first started out with Ford and then eventually went to BMW. And this is when Lean really became a big deal back in the early 90s. Toyota had already been doing it. It was making its way to the States. We had in some cases, 2-hour mold changes. Now think about that. To have a machine down, a capital piece of equipment that you may spend, $1 million, $1.5 million on it, sitting idle for 2 hours. So what does that mean? It means you have to build inventory. You have to build a bank of inventory to continue to run the lines because you have an assembly operation in order to change a tool. So you get to a point where you start doing these, what's called s1e1, single minute exchange dies, where you start looking at it in minutes. We got best in the world, best in the class in our 3,000 ton presses. We were doing these changes in about 11 minutes on average for 7 injection machines, 18 minutes. So what does that mean? It means your machines are running longer, you're getting payback on the capital investment, and more importantly, your inventory is lower. You don't have to build these banks of inventory. You're building lower inventories, doing faster changes, and the lines run faster. In automotive, if you're a supplier supplying into the plant, right? There's an assembly plant. You get live broadcast, so you get to see what's being built. You get an order. You get to ship 28 cars with options to the plant. If you don't have it on a line ready, like at BMW, you get charged back $1,100 a minute.
Oh,
if you shut the line down. Ford is like $500 a minute. So you can only imagine the stress levels if you run into a problem and they're running a car and they go to grab a door panel and it's not available. And the line shuts down and there's 1,000 people standing around. It gets pretty intense pretty quick. So you learn those systems and you learn them really quick.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I would deal with countries all over the world. And when I need a mold changed out or I need a color test or whatever, it's like a week or two to do something like that. When you're talking about minutes,
it's funny you said that on Tidy Hook. The Tidy Hook, if you go to tidyhook.com, look at that product, it's an automotive product that fits on the side of a seat. It's a storage area. That product alone, I was at the plant when we launched it. It has to achieve really low temperature characteristics, has a snapping feature on the headrest, and it has to hit the extremes, right, of the hot temperature. So when we first molded it, we weren't happy. I'm at the plant now. We're molding it. I wasn't really happy with the way it clipped on. There's a chance it could break the clip. So we spent the next 2 days, that's all we did is reformulate it, added some ethylene, really gave it good cold characteristics and flexible where it wouldn't snap. Did that on site at the plant in less than 2 days, product was launched. Where, like you said, if you had to do that in China or somewhere else, you're talking weeks. Let me get it to my engineering department, which you hope they see it in 2 weeks. And before you see samples, it's 30 days. We're doing this in counting them in hours and days. We can move pretty quick to solve real world problems on designs.
Wow. That's just that type of story is so important to let people know that something like that. I mean, yeah, if you were working in any other country, they would have to fix it. They would make something, they would try it. They are, of course, going to say, we think it works. And then they're going to ship it to you, which is going to take another week. You're going to take a look at it. And how are you going to explain to them, oh, it's not soft enough? What does that mean? So being able to be right on site or here within the country within a day or half a day notice is super important for a lot of products.
Yeah, I think so too. I've used the whole the BMW model, which is when they build new vehicles, and this plant here in Carolina went from, when I was there, 800 people to over 12,000 people now. So you can only imagine, the growth spurt. And the fellow that I worked with back in the day, Canoe Flores, is now the president. He's a good friend of mine. He's the president of the company. So it's really cool to go back and visit and see everything that was put in place. But so they have this model of 30 miles. You want to be a supplier to BMW, you need to be within a 30-mile range, because if it's a live broadcast where it's, you know, seats, instrument panels, door panels, all the sequence parts have to be able to ship quickly and live to what they're building. All the bulk parts, you know, some of the headrests, the plastic clips, mirrors, all that can be shipped in. But they have that rule, 30 miles. So I use that same rule. What I find is when I'm in a manufacturing facility, I'm not waiting for something to come in, right? Even if it's a 2-day, overnight, or whatever. I have now facilities that are local to that plant that can literally drive it to the plant if they had to. And when we launched the Super Potty Trainer, superpottytrainer.com, that product alone had a 2-week window to get into Walmart. We had to do the graphics of the label, had to have the silicone feet die cut. We had to mold the product. We had to do the packaging. All of that had to be done in 2 weeks. So you can imagine the stress level, and I think people were telling me it's not possible. I'm saying, okay, it's Walmart. It has to be made possible. We have to ship it in 2 weeks. And everybody rallied together and pulled it off. But I feel like, again, speed to market, having people local, having people that really, if there's a problem with the plastic, you can bring the supplier into the plant. They can evaluate it with you. And now you have a collective group of companies and teams that can solve the problem. That's, I think, what's really critical is being there to see it happen.
Yeah. You know, and those are huge aspects of, I've always been a proponent for Made in America. It's just that I myself never really had the contacts. I've had factories, I had the contacts, but I didn't have the ability to bring all of those things together. And that's why I love what you're doing in that sense, because it gives people a feeling of they're connected to the product. They can go, they can reach out. It's a day drive or a flight. It's not like a 2-week, you know, process to go to the factory, things of that sense. So let me just real quick, and we're going to have multiple shows. We're going to be bringing people on and talking and answering questions. I mean, the real question is, how do you compete with the pricing over there? Or is it kind of a no-brainer when you're doing everything in that radius that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I'm extremely competitive, and in many cases even better on pricing. And I'll use some real examples of products that were being done in China that I brought over, that I was able to cut the piece price down by, you know, 30, 40, in some cases 50%. So, for example, I'll give you a great example on the Super Potty Trainer. Right, it's a product that is mostly plastic. Right, then there's some secondary operations like labels, and there's some silicone feet in the bottom, and then there's, of course, packaging. We're able to really eliminate. We can build to order. We have tooling capacities, but we can build to order. We can, while the machine is running. So you have labor already applied to the cost. They're running a piece of injection equipment. But now that's it. That same person, as the machine is running, is also putting on the label in the cycle time, also putting on the silicone feet and putting it in a box. So it goes from the injection press literally to a customer, right? It goes into a box, it gets fulfilled and out the door. I'm not putting it in a huge crate. I'm not shipping it 60, 90 days to the coast. I'm not having somebody pick it up in a truck and freight it across the country. I'm not having somebody warehouse it. I'm not having somebody else fulfill it. I'm doing it literally in the same plant in time frames that are unheard of. Delivering a product to Walmart in 2 weeks, anybody would tell you is impossible, and we did it.
Yeah, I would have been one of those persons that says there's no way to do that, you know, but you did. And what's awesome is people can go to Walmart and see your product there. So you're not just making this up. I mean, it's something that this is what you do day in and day out.
Absolutely. And you know, even with the Tidy Hook, you know, at the time, my client, who's now my partner, Vernon, he actually had done all the costing. He was actually going to China, and I had talked to him. You know, I think I met him at Make 48. We had talked a little bit. I had called him one day. We had a conversation. I said, Vernon, I know for a fact, based on what you're telling me, that we can beat that price in the U.S. He didn't believe it. Now he's a firm believer, right? Because it's a fact. We did it a lot lower. We did it faster, and that was the one that had the material problem that we solved, which he had tried solving previously. We solved on the spot in the plant the day of. So there's no question. I've been doing this a long time. I know what I'm good at. I know what our capabilities are. I know what we're not good at. If you start getting heavy labor-intensive products, yeah, that's a problem, right? Because now you're competing with labor in China. So that we can really do it competitive by removing waste, but that's always the gray area. And you can make that up in other areas that still give you the benefit of the cost. But on injection molding, where you're actually running a piece of equipment, you're not having to use labor on the outside, there is no question in my mind. We can do it faster and we can do it a more competitive price. That model has been proved out.
Wow, that's awesome. So when an inventor, someone listened to the podcast, they have an idea, they maybe they made a prototype in their garage or they have some drawings. What do you think the first thing they should do if they don't contact you first and they walk over to a factory that's local to them? Is there things they should say, look out for, things they should ask, things in that sense?
Yeah, I'm always leery of when someone says, "Oh, I can get that done for a lower price." So the first question I say, okay, so let's compare apples. What are you costing out? Are you just costing out one component, the plastic component, or are you costing out that plastic component and then all the value add that goes on that component? And then you've got to get packaging, right? You got to put it in. Then you've got to build how much inventory to make it cost effective to ship it. So then you run the risk of building excessive inventory, which I'm not a big fan of. I mean, we talked about that live broadcast and shipping truly just in time, not from a warehouse just in time, but actually building and shipping. But then you have a quality problem. What if I built, as Vernon wanted to, 100,000 tidy hooks?
Oh, God.
And then got it to the U.S. and they start snapping on the headrest. You can't fix that problem.
Nope.
That's $100,000 times whatever you paid to get it here, completely gone. You cannot repair it. So that's where I think the benefit for me is I ask all the questions of proof of concept. What are you costing out? Do you have the freight in it? Do you have the warehouse cost? Do you have the logistics cost, the fulfillment cost? Not just saying it's lower. What does that include? And that's where I think a lot of people get misguided.
Misguided? Dude, you hit it right on the head. You're exactly right. Because it's like going to 6 different doctors until one gives you the answer you want. Right. I mean, you really need to ask the right questions. And that's what I love about these type of shows, the other shows I do on a network. What I love about what this show is going to do, it really gives the information so you can feel confident that when you go to give a price to a retailer, you have to give the right price to the retailer. I mean, tell me a little bit about if I gave the retailer a price and it was wrong. I mean, I could be out of business easily, right?
It's over. It's over. I mean, especially if you're talking 50 cents versus $5, it's over. But you're right. I mean, the retailer is going to want 40 to 50%, right? A lot of them collect on small orders, but on big freight orders, you have to look at that. How you're going to fill up an LTL. But, you need to look at the retail price. Then you need to look at what they want from a wholesale price, and then you need to look at all your costs. So there's some margin in there for you to be comfortable to produce it and make some money at the end of the day. So if you decide to go and give a retailer a cost and you can't honor it, you are done. You won't get that second chance.
Yeah. That's why it's so important. I love what you talked about finding a factory or utilizing your connections or your services, because you can get the tooling in-house. You have production in-house. I love the ability that they're packaging it right there, putting on any information. And in reality, that person is really doing kind of like a quality check at the same time. Absolutely.
100%. That's part of what we call first piece article. And it's part of our PPAP process where we actually, before you run into production, you do your approval processes. And in that, there's critical characteristics that are called out. As they produce, they have to check to make sure that it's 100% to the print, it's 100% satisfactory, and in some cases, there may even be some physical breaking of components to make sure they meet certain loads. But again, when we were doing that Walmart run, so we had the line set up, we had all of the process controls in place, and it really flowed smoothly. We actually ran to a problem where they wanted more units as we were going through the current production. They wanted to add on to the units, more stores. So I had to order some more packaging that our packaging supplier delivered as the line was running, truly almost too close for comfort, just in time. But if I didn't have that flexibility, I could have never had met that requirement.
Yeah. And being, you know, what's great about when I talk to you about this is you're not only an inventor, a designer, but you're that manufacturer. You have that knowledge, that experience, and you don't play like you get nervous. But some of these things, they're kind of nerve-wracking. You kind of know what to expect, but it's really important to work with somebody that has done it before. And it's just so, and I stress that point all the time. You know, people talk to their neighbor or they talk to somebody, they're giving them advice from them. But that I say this, tell me how many products they've manufactured. That's the question, right? I mean, you must get that all the time.
Everybody has a story until they have to write you a check. Then they're nowhere to be found, right? So I know exactly what you mean. There's always the Monday quarterback that has all the answers, right? But when it really happens, they have no idea how to do it.
Exactly right.
You know, and I think it's important that I work with people that know me as well, right? They know that I'm pretty aggressive, I'm competitive, and I don't normally say something and not fulfill it and do it, right? So if I say I'm going to do it in a time frame I'm going to do it, everyone has to buy into it. Because if one person falls down in that supplier chain, it doesn't matter. It affects the entire group. So everybody understands the importance that I think that's part of that network and building relationships. That's equally as important to me, is that they know when I call them and I need something, I'm going to get it. I'll give you another great example on that alone. This is in a time frame that was pretty aggressive. I was traveling back and forth, and I did this without physically signed purchase orders. Not many people would do that for you, right?
Wow.
These people knew me. They know they're going to get paid. I asked them, here's the numbers I needed. They did it. I didn't have a PO with them. And at the end of the day, it all worked out as planned. But that's part of the network and part of trust and building solid relationships, to be able to have that flexibility to do it on demand when you need it.
Yeah. Super important. I agree with you 1,000,000%. One question, we talked a little bit about, or you talked a little bit about retailers and getting product into retailers. Do you feel, or you see that retailers here in the U.S. are looking more towards made in America products?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest time ever for that now. I mean, Walmart particularly. I just got off these open call meetings, and it's all made in the USA. Their claim that a consumer will pay 20% more.
Wow.
If they need to for a made in USA product. The beauty of it, they don't have to pay 20% more with my products, because I'm producing them competitive and cost effective. So it works out really good. So I'm getting a lot of looks now on my products more than ever, because I'm able to do that in the time frames to turn them around. So that is a big deal now. I'm telling you, I hear that everywhere I go. That people, the old mindset of not being able to do it competitive in the U.S., to me, you're working with the wrong people. Because I know I can do it. That's a fact. And I know that it's proven. Again, it's not for every product, but for the ones that it is, not a question.
Yeah. Well, no, and of course, I mean, you know, there's different countries, there's different technologies, there's different things, but
Right.
Obviously knowing where your lane is and being able to specialize in that, it really just helps your target clients much more, that you're saying, hey, these are the products that I can help with, because we can't be everything to everyone.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm quick to say, if it's a product that I can't, and if I can help them still and put them in contact with people who do handle those specific products, I'm happy to do that. But think about the ability to say your product's made in the USA. What comes with that, right? I mean that's a big deal to me. I come from a working class family. I grew up with nothing. I mean, I'm telling you, I shared a bedroom with my two brothers. I shared a bed with my brother. I had a house full of love. I had the best mother in the world. And that pride of watching my dad work every day. I worked for a big company like Raytheon, but watching him work, watching him go to school at night, that whole thing meant a lot to me. So I'm the kind of guy, even when I was in the corporate world and in corporate America, I'm the guy that's on the floor. I want to know about you, your kids. I'm actually on the floor building product with you. I'm not the guy sitting there calling the shots. I'm doing both. I'm going to go out, down on the floor and make it happen with you. And you know, and you learn a lot about people. You'll learn even more about a process that you're putting in place, right? The people have to work in that process all day long. So that has some personal interest and passion for me about making in USA. It's a big deal for me.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Plus, you know, talking to you on and off air, you love this stuff, and you can always tell. And I know you've probably said the same thing when you talk to somebody who really loves what they're doing. Hey, I love making money. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But when you get to help and make products and be innovative and do things, it is just it's fun to go to work each day, and that's kind of how I feel you are with these products.
Boy, I'll tell you, you know, the best and the biggest gratitude I get, especially when I came out of the corporate America, when you can go on the floor and change somebody's life. You can go there, put these lean systems in place, improve bottom line, start giving back bonuses, but they're learning and you change their life. I've got friends from all over the country that I've met from being in corporate America from doing that. That to me is the motivation. That's the driving factor. I think one of the biggest compliments I ever received, we had an opportunity for the Washington Nationals. I had a chance to throw the first pitch out. And we had a big thing because I was on Good Morning America, one of my products. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to shut the plant down at noontime. The game's at 2. We're going to have everybody go over to the stadium. We're going to rent out a suite. The mayor was there. The colleges were there. The media was there. Everyone's hoping I don't throw a strike on the first pitch. But we have a huge cookout. I mean, it was the greatest event. I'm telling you, no matter what I do in my life, people still bring that up. And like nobody had ever done that before. And to me, I mean, I just felt like everybody should enjoy that benefit, not just me throwing out a first pitch. It should be a company-wide, you know, a feeling of pride. And it was, you know, all the products were made in the USA, same thing. So it was such a good feeling. And to me, that's where it drives me, is seeing other people's success. I've had my opportunity where I've taken advantages when someone's opened the door for me, going way back, you know, learning CAD systems or having a chance to go work in another company at a high level. I always made the best of the opportunity. So I feel like if you really want to grow as a person and give you an opportunity to do that, boy, that's the passion that drives me. I absolutely love that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You know, we only have a few minutes left. First off, I want to ask you, was it a strike or not?
It was a strike. You know, it was, I'm not going to lie either. I practiced. And I threw it, and, you know, it was kind of funny. Most of the time they tell you to throw it from in front of the mound. He said, no, you're going to throw it on the mound. I'm like, oh, here we go. I have pictures. I was in full form. I threw it. It was a little high, a little inside, but it was a strike.
You, oh man! If you had hair, you would have been losing it on that one. Oh my God!
If I had missed it, I would have taken so much abuse.
Exactly.
It's funny. The president for Lemoyne College was there. He said, "Dude, you look pretty serious up there." I said, "Well, look around.
Yeah.
Every open I would miss."
Yep. Yeah, that
was a fun day. It really was a fun day.
Yeah, that's a fun outcome. And then you know, I know we only have a few minutes. Real quick. Tell me the Good Morning America story, man. I mean, this is something that, you know, like you said, people recognize you now.
Yeah, you know, I've been on there, 5 times now. I actually proposed to Brandy in December live. And then Robin did an update on that. Oh boy, just 2 months ago. So in August, she did an update. She did a big story about our wedding date. And we're going to get married on my mother's birthday, who passed away this February.
Oh.
And she remembers the day, and she called me out for my shoe. So it was a pretty cool event. But I had a chance to actually do some pitching. This goes about 5 years ago on Good Morning America with a product, and it's an interesting story because I got a call on Thursday night. I was in Syracuse at 10 o'clock, and usually that call is my son, right? I need money, Dad, send.
Oh no!
It was the producer of Good Morning America, and she's like, "Hey, Chris." I had met her about a month or so before in Times Square, where she actually put me on with Ginger Z to talk about baseball. So you have a product, right? I said, yeah. She said, well, here's the deal. Send it to me tomorrow by 9 o'clock. Now this is 10 o'clock at night, telling me to send it to her at 9 a.m. I'm thinking, I'm flying. I'm actually leaving for a flight. So I said, okay, no, don't worry about the producing of it. Just want to see how you are on camera. So I called my guys up. They said, let's go in right now. I said, no. I'm going to sleep right now. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll be at the plant. So I wrote a script. We set it up. We did like 10 takes, and it's ironically, the first take is what we liked the most. I sent it to her, and Monday she sent me back a note saying she got it. Monday she said, be here in Times Square in Good Morning America Friday at 6 o'clock, and you're going to be on the show. So again, speed, right? All about speed, getting it done.
That's what it seems like, dude. I think that is why you love this type of industry so much, because it seems like your challenge is you need to get things done quick, and you've proven time and time again that it can be done.
Yeah, you're right. It's a competitive edge. It's always challenging. Automotive, talk about the training ground of automotive. It is the unbelievable training ground. What they teach, I mean, to a point where sometimes it's overkill. I used to joke about, I used to know every single number of the plant. I used to know what everything cost. I used to know what my PL used to look like. I mean, I felt like I was a mastermind because of the training. It made you that good. Mm-hmm. And it is. It's high output. It's not for the weak. A lot of energy. Like, you can't miss the mark because you cost a lot of money. It's not like hundreds. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars if you miss the mark. And that, I think, is part of what drives me is doing it, perfection, right? Doing it right the first time, keeping it sold. Quality is a high level, and it's speed to market, best cost, the highest quality product.
Yeah. And you just basically explained the automotive industry. There's no doubt about it. But what I love about what you're doing is you're bringing it across tracks to other products and being able to help that inventor personality, that person that has that one product that just needs some real help. It's always heartwarming to know that they're going to get help in the right way, because as we know, the inventor industry, could go either way very quickly.
Absolutely. And you said it, Carmen. I love what I do, right? I love helping people. I love seeing other people succeed. I love giving opportunities. And for me to watch my kids now who are 22, and Christian's turned 28, to watch him grow, go to college, get a degree, and work with me, and probably thought I was crazy early on with the stories, but then seeing the before and the after results on P&Ls, right, which is real, tangible items that you can sink your teeth in, and now he's doing it. He's out working as a purchasing manager. He's doing the things that he watched me set up, and people look at him and go, where'd you learn that from? Right? They think he's a black belt in Six Sigma, and he's not. But he learned so much from working with me. It's that, to me, I drives me unbelievably to see others succeed. It's just a good feeling for me.
Yeah, I mean, those type of things, it's really priceless. You're not meaning to do that. It's happening organically. And you're seeing when those type of things happen in a way that it just happens, you're on the right track. You're doing the right thing. You're helping people. Because if you're trying to fake it and you're in it just to make money, like I said, I like making money. It doesn't happen. It might happen at first, and you've probably seen this. It happens, at first, and then slowly those characters, they fade away. I mean, you and I know there's always some big shot in the invention industry for a year or 6 months, and then nobody hears from them again.
Yeah, it won't sustain. You got to have people that believe. I always tell my son, when you walk into a new company, don't walk in as a know-it-all. You don't know anything about that company. You might know techniques to make them better. The people in the plant that are working there now, they know it better than anybody. Same with with inventors. Same with their products. They know it better, right? You could improve on it, but I always start with building teams, building trust, building relationships. And then when people, I know how many times I've gone to corporate America and people say, the last guy before you. I always say, you haven't heard it from me. Like, that guy might have said it to you, but that's what you're talking about. Those guys don't last, right? So I'm an advocate of, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I'm a man of my word, and I don't mess around with that. That was instilled, back in the day with my mother, and that was an important feature. And to treat people the way you want to be treated, right? So I build trust, I build relationships, and then I teach people how to work in the right system, and the rest falls in place. Yeah. They get more efficient, company makes more money, they make more money, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I think, and I love the show they're going to be doing. We're going to start wrapping it up. It's awesome. We're going to cover so many more topics. We're going to have some great guests. I mean, being Mr. Made in America and doing Made in America products, it's going to give us the ability to just reach out and have some real heavyweights on the show, giving some information, talking about what's going on. I think it's going to be pretty cool getting this show up and running. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a good start right here. I have so much to talk about, and there's so many systems that help improve inventors on not just manufacturing it, but really launching it.
Yeah.
Right, designing it, 3D models, legal advice. Getting good attorneys involved and when to do it. This is really exciting, Carmine. I really appreciate you taking the time to do all of this. This is going to be great.
Oh no, it's going to be awesome. What I love about it is that we get to follow your career too, because you're doing what you're going to be talking about. That's what's so exciting.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much more I want to talk to you about. And we're going to have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah, we're going to go through a lot. So all you listeners out there, thank you so much for listening in. Please go on out to Google Play or iTunes, subscribe to our show, leave us some reviews, some ratings. If you want to learn more about Chris, we are going to be talking to him in length on many more shows, but go on to paceimpact.com or is it Christopher Guerrero or chrisguerrero.com?
Yeah, either one will get you there, but chrisguerrero.com, but either one will get you there.
Awesome. Yeah, so Pace Impact, Chris is CEO of Pace Impact. Go to paceimpact.com. We will be on the show and talking in numerous things. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for myself, Carmen Disco, for Mr. Christopher Guerrero, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on Made in America with Christopher Guerrero. You all take care.